I have a couple of things I want to get out of the way before we start the video today. First of all, I would like to thank my community. We surpassed 6,000 subscribers earlier this week, and I just want to thank everybody for the support that you've shown me and this channel. It makes me feel good to know that my content is reaching people and definitely helping them. Second of all, if you've noticed, there's been a complete rebranding of Ebuzz Central, going with the EC now, reviews and tutorials. It's going to be across all my social media and across the Ebuzz Central store, which now has a new website address, which is the ecstore.gq. And I will put that up on the screen here in just a little bit. Now, what I want to touch base on today with this video, it's the newest Ebuzz double feature. When I did my video the other day on Storm OS, Arch and KDE, my Manjaro replacement, I received even more comments than I have received in previous Arch-based distributions. Basically, the comments all say the same thing. Why don't you ever go over the install of Arch? I'm on Windows, I would like to move, and I would like to give Arch a try. How do I install it? Or I want to do a distribution. How do I install it? So the first part of today's video is going to go over how to install basically vanilla Arch onto your system. And then the second part is going to go over how to use the Calamares installer and install an Arch distribution. That's what we will be covering today on Ebuzz Central. Are you somebody that loves Linux? Are you somebody that likes to show people that you use Linux and you have pride in using it? Well, you need to get over to the Ebuzz Central store. It's ecstore.gq. ecstore.gq. We have everything from Arch, sudo apt get install alive, get Linux, which is Debian based, our standard Linux with just Linux and the Penguin, Kali inspired Linux with the Dragon. We have It's Okay If You Don't Like Linux, Not Everyone Has Good Taste. Of course, our Linux Mint, as well as our Ubuntu. If you love Fedora, we have you covered. Then our Don't Try This At, one of my favorites, Losing My Mind One Distro at a Time. And then our most recent edition, Storm OS. So zip on over to the Ebuzz Central store, which is ecstore.gq. Take a look around. If you see something you like, go ahead and pick it up. If there's something you would like to see on the store, drop that in the comments below and we'll do our best to get it up there for you. So now we're going to go back to the desktop. So I've dusted off the old Windows 11 backup desktop so I can go through this tutorial with you. The first thing we're going to cover is how to install vanilla Arch. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to zip on over to your internet browser and go ahead and go to anarchyinstaller.gitlab.io. I'll be sure to include that link in the description below. And what you'll want to do is go over here, click download. Go down here. You got your images right here. You've got 64-bit and of course 32-bit. Download it. Get that to start downloading. I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to do that. Next thing you're going to want to do is go to Rufus. So just type in Rufus and open that up, and I will go ahead and include that link in the description below. And a lot of people are going to say, well, there's Ventoy and Belina Etcher. Why do you use Rufus? I will show you the reason why here in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. Let's go ahead and close out of that, close out of that, and close out of that. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have a USB drive. Make sure it's a minimum of 16 gigabytes. And go ahead and plug that into your USB port. Go ahead and close out of that. We don't need to concern ourselves with that. Open up your file manager. Go up to your downloads. And open Rufus. I'm going to click no because I just downloaded the most recent version. Now what you're going to want to do here, and one of the reasons I like this, I'm going to show it to you real quick. I'm going to go ahead and select the ISO because I want to select Anarchy. And click open. You can set persistence here, but don't do that. You won't need that. Now, one of the reasons I do like Rufus is, let's say you have an older PC and you have to use Windows and you want Windows 11. You go download it. You know for a fact you can't install it because the TPM will block it, and it will say your system does not meet the minimum requirements to install Windows. Well, once you put your Windows ISO right here, and you go over and select Windows, and it loads up here, you get a drop-down menu, and it lets you turn the TPM off and the secure boot off, and you can create a Windows 11 USB that you can actually use. If that's something you need and you want, that's fine. What we're going to do right now is you've got your ISO right here. You've got Anarchy. All you got to do is come down here and click Start, and it will write to the USB. Once it's done, you'll have to reboot your system, go into a one-time boot menu. You can go online, find out what the hotkey is for that, whether it be F2, Escape, F11, whatever it might be, so you can get to the boot menu and boot from that USB drive. When you do that, this screen will come up. This is the screen you'll be met with, so what you'll want to do is hit Anarchy Installer. And I was really hoping it would recognize my card and make the screen nice and big, but it doesn't look like it's going to do that for us. So this is basically where you're at, Anarchy Installer. What you'll want to do right here is go down and choose your language. I'm going to go ahead and stick with English. And then select your key map. If unsure, leave default. And there's the United States. And it basically gives you information right here. Anarchy is an installer for the Arch Linux distribution, not a distribution based on Arch. Because you are installing Arch, you can and should read the Arch wiki. If any errors occurred during the installation, use the command nctermbin.com999. And you can read through all of that, guys. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. What do you want to do? Update Anarchy and start the installation? Start the installation. Because I just downloaded the most recent. Downloaded ranked new mirrors, error mirrorless, or skip updating mirrors. Let's go ahead and update them so we know we're getting the freshest information from the best places. Now, don't be afraid of this. A lot of Arch users, they love being in the terminal. Sometimes there are people that just want to give Arch a try, but they want an easy way to install it because they don't have a lot of time to sit around and go through all the steps. I can install Arch from terminal. I know a lot of people out there that can as well, but there are people that aren't quite sure if they want to take that step into vanilla Arch, and this is an easy way for you to do that without having to spend a lot of time. And then that way, if you decide, yeah, I want to give Arch a shot, maybe you can put a little bit more time into it. What I'm going to do right now is it's refreshing the mirrors. We're going to take a little break, and I'll be back when it's finished. Now we're going to set our locale. I'm going to go ahead and pick the United States. And then set your time zone. So you want to find out, I'm going to go with America, and I will go with Dallas. They don't have Dallas, so Chicago's in Central Time Zone. Let's go ahead and pick that. Now, you can select your desired method of partitioning the drive. You can auto-partition encrypted, manual partition, or return to menu. What I recommend right here is if you're not comfortable with trying to partition your drives, I would just stick with auto-partition. This is going to go ahead and install it for you and give you that test drive of Arch Linux that you're looking for. Right here, it'll pop up and show you the size of your drive and where you're installing it. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Now, you can select your desired file system type. Now, right here, you've got quite a few options. You've got ext4, 3, and 2, BTRFS, JFS, the Riser file system, and XFS. If you're new to Linux, or you're new to Arch, should I say, stick with what you know. Stay with ext4. That's my recommendation. Now, if you're somebody that's a little bit more experienced in Linux and you want to use the ButterFS or the BetterFS file system, you can. That's all up to you. So, ext4. And would you like to create swap space? If you want to go ahead and create that swap space, just hit enter. It's set at 512. That's plenty. I'm just going to leave that there, so we'll hit enter again. Would you like to use GPT partitioning, guide partition table? Right here, this just comes down to your personal preference. At this time, I'm going to select no because I just don't want to deal with that at this time. I just want to get through this and show you how easy it is to install Arch on a system. So no. Warning. It's letting you know this will erase all data on the drive. Location, size of it, and you can go ahead and click Write Changes. And then the next screen that pops up, it says select your desired install option. You've got Anarchy Desktop, Desktop LTS, Anarchy Server LTS, and then Anarchy Advanced. What I'm going to recommend here is not to pick any of the Anarchies for the simple fact that they do come with things preloaded that is not vanilla Arch. So we're going to go down to Anarchy Advanced, and bring that up. And you get a lot of different choices here. And when you get here, you've got choices. You've got vanilla kernel with base, hardened kernel with base, long-term support kernel, Zen kernel. I recommend the vanilla kernel, and you're going to want to go the vanilla kernel with the base devel. The reason you want to do that, the base devel is going to automatically download packages that really, once you get to your desktop, you're going to need to download anyway to help you when you start doing work on your system. So it's nice just to get that out of the way right now. So what you want to do is select that. Now another screen pops up. It says select your desired command shell. You've got bash, dash, fish, tcsh, zsh. I'm going to go ahead and go with bash. But if you're somebody that uses dash, fish, or either one of the other two, you can install those as well. It just really comes down to personal preference. And then your next screen that pops up is select your desired bootloader. You've got Grub, System Linux bootloader, or none. I'm going to go with Grub. Next up, it says select your desired network utility. You've got Network Manager, and then you've got NetCTL, which has also got a Wi-Fi menu. Now, what we want is that. We want the NetCTL. That's a network manager for the graphic user interface. So let's go ahead and click on that one. The next screen pops up. It says 64-bit architecture is detected. Add multi-lib repos to pacman.conf file. Yes, you want to do that. It allows installing 32-bit software on a 64-bit system. All this does is create a problem that you might have in the future. You may need an application that is available only in 32-bit, and you need it to run on a 64-bit system. So if you do the multi-lib repos and have them already in the Pacman conf, you don't have to worry about this in the future. Next screen that pops up is enable DHCP at boot. This is recommended. It's Dynamic Host Control Protocol. Basically what this does is when you boot your system, it automatically configures the IP address for you. Unless you're somebody that wants to do it on every boot manually, go ahead and click yes. Next screen that pops up is install wireless utilities. Provides Wi-Fi support. Are you using a system with Wi-Fi? This one is easy. If you are, click yes. If you aren't, click no. Next is install OS Prober. What this basically is are you going to do a boot? Are you going to have Arch Linux on one partition and then Windows on another? Or Arch on one and Ubuntu on another? If you're going to do a boot, you need this. If you're not, just click no. Would you like to install a desktop or window manager? Of course we would, so let's go ahead and hit yes. Now when this pops up, it says select your desired environment, customize desktop, clean desktop environment, or more window managers. Do not go with the customized desktop. This is going to come preloaded with things that Anarchy is put in their customized desktop that they think most people are going to use. What we're going for here is a more vanilla Arch type feel. We just want the base system with all the libraries we need to move forward and install the applications that we want. So we're going to go ahead and go down to clean desktop environments. When this screen comes up, it says select your desired environment. Now you would use the spacebar to check or uncheck. You've got Budgie, Cinnamon, Deepin. Now Deepin I do not recommend. Deepin has a hard time, unless you're actually using the Deepin OS, the desktop environment is really buggy. So I would stay away from it. GNOME Flashback, which is the classic desktop. KDE Plasma, LXDE, LXQT, Mate, and XFCE4. For this video, I'm going to do KDE Plasma. Now I do want to say, too, before we go forward, if you wanted to install two desktops, let's say you want to use KDE and XFCE, you could install both desktops and then switch between them. I'm just telling you, that's a bad idea. Some people do it. Some people like to do it. I always have issues with it, so I'm just not going to fool with it today. I'm just going to stick with KDE Plasma. Then it asks, install minimal Plasma desktop, and I'm going to select yes. VirtualBox guest install detected. Installer will provide VirtualBox guest utilities. Okay. Would you like to now, for those of you out there that are actually going to install this on hardware, on bare metal, you won't get the VirtualBox notification. Would you like to install XF86 input touchpad drivers required for laptop support? If you're using it on a laptop, you're going to say yes. If you're not, click no. I'm going to go ahead and click yes. Would you like to install a display manager, which is your graphical login manager? Yes, we would. And if you're using KDE Plasma, you would come down here and pick SDDM because that's what it uses. But you also have Light DM, GDM, which is your GNOME Desktop Display Manager, LXDM, Display Manager, or SSDM. And it says default is Light DM. Please enter a new login password for root. We got to make it a super secret password, so it's encrypting the password. Add or edit user account. Going to go ahead and add Troy Holt. You must enter a username. Okay. Just going to make Troy Holt. Write your full name. Troy Holt. Set a password for Troy Holt. There's a password. There's a password. And it's encrypting it. Enable pseudo privilege for Troy Holt. Yes, we do. Once you do that, it says please wait while we update the Pacman databases. And once the Pacman databases are updated, it says begin installing Anarchy Linux base system onto dev SDA. Download size 901 megabytes, estimated time 4 minutes, and it's going to install. And then it lists everything it's going to install. So I'm going to go ahead and hit install, and when it's done, I'll be back with you. And it has reached 100%. That has taken about 4 minutes. Now, the initial install took about 4 minutes. I've been setting on 100% for about 5 minutes now because you can see that it's retrieving packages. The base Arch Linux install is complete. Now it's doing the extra packages to complete the Arch Linux install. Now you can see it's downloading the K-Core add-ons 5.92.0-1, and it's finishing up that KDE install. And once it's done installing, quick reboot, it's opening up KDE, and you come to your desktop and you have installed Arch Linux. Now what we're going to do is take a look at installing an Arch-based distro through the Calamares installer. So you're going to want to come back to your desktop. You've already downloaded Rufus, and you're going to want to find an Arch distribution that you might be interested in, whether it be Storm OS, Endeavor OS, Reborn OS. Today we're going to work with Storm OS because that's on my main system. And you can zip on over here, and then you can go to Downloads, and then pick the one you want to download, whether it be XFCE or KDE. Okay, I have already done this. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Rufus. Go to Downloads, go to Rufus, and what you'll want to do here is go ahead and put in your USB. Okay, there's your new, and go select your image that you downloaded. Click Open. It'll set everything up. Then what you'll want to do is come down here, click Start. It will format your USB and load the operating system on it, at least the live version. Now once you're done, you'll want to restart your PC, but remember, go over, find out what your hotkey is to get into your boot menu so that you can boot from the USB at startup. So we're going to go ahead and close out of that. And when you restart your PC, it will look something like this. You'll get this right here, Storm OS install, Storm OS non-free drivers install. I'm just going to go with the Storm OS install, and it will bring you to a screen like this. If it does, just hit enter. Some distributions will have a password there, whether it be root, demo, live, whatever distribution you choose. Go ahead and find out what that is so you can get to the desktop, and some will boot directly to the desktop. So KDE is starting up. And it lets me know this system's not plugged into a power source, so I'm not too concerned with that at the moment. And you're at the Calamares installer. Okay? First thing we're going to want to do is go ahead and pick American English, and then pick your time zone. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Chicago, and then your keyboard, English is default. Whatever your keyboard is, go ahead and select it over here. And then it'll give you install alongside, replace a partition, erase a disk, or manual partitioning. And right down here, it'll show you what space that you have available. Because I'm doing this in a virtual box, I have limited space, but I'm going to go ahead and use that for this purpose anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and erase disk. Now it will ask you right here, this will delete all data currently present on the selected storage device. I'm fine with that. I'm going to go ahead and pick ext4, and then right here you can add swap if you want. Swap with no hibernate, swap with hibernate, swap to file. I'm not going to pick swap today, but if you are using a laptop, I would pick swap with hibernate. That way if you close the lid or something like that, it would go into a hibernate status as opposed to just cutting it off. It has caused problems with some Linux distros in the past, so just be safe and go with the swap with hibernate. I'm going to pick none right here. Now I'm going to go next, and it's going to ask you what your full name is, so you go ahead and type that in. Then you can come down here and put in your super secret password. Okay, let's go ahead and hit next. And the next options you get is it lets you install some optional apps. It's got Lutris, Wine, Steam, TeamViewer, Telegram, Chromium. It's got NVIDIA packages if you have an NVIDIA graphics card. I'm just going to pick one off the bat. I'm going to go with Transmission for my BitTorrents and go ahead and click next. And then it gives you a summary, time zone, keyboard. That way you can get one last look and make sure that you've got everything correct. And then you can click on install and it will ask you, are you sure you want to install? And you go ahead and click yes, and it will start installing. This process usually doesn't take too long. With the Calamares installer, it's going to be a little bit quicker than when you install a base Arch system, for the simple fact that it's not compiling everything. It's pulling packages as opposed to having to compile a lot with the Arch in and of itself. So I'm going to go ahead and let this run for a little bit, and when it gets to 100%, we'll do a reboot and you can take a look at the OS. And once it hits 100%, you get the all done and you're ready to go. That took approximately 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and click restart now and done. And once you reboot, you are in your new Arch base distro. That was a pretty quick tutorial on how to install vanilla Arch, and then a tutorial on how to install an Arch distribution. It's really easy in 2022. It's not something to be afraid of. It's not something to be scared of. Arch is fun to use, and Arch makes your life a whole lot easier. If you have any questions about what we just went over, if you would, please drop those in the comments below. I try to get back in touch with everybody that leaves a comment. It's kind of hard now. I've got over 6,000 subscribers, but I do my best. Like I said, if you've got questions, drop them down below. Let me know about your experience. Have you tried to install vanilla Arch? Have you ever heard about Anarchy and how easy it makes to install Arch? Let me know. If you get a chance, zip on over and check out the Ebuzz Central Store. That's the ecsstore.gq. ecsstore.gq. Run over there, see if you can find something you like. If you do, pick it up. If there's something you'd like to see on the store, let us know about it. Also, if you like the channel and enjoy the videos that we're producing, think about supporting us, becoming a member here on YouTube. Maybe zipping on over to Patreon, becoming a patron to the channel. You could buy us a coffee, or you can even go to PayPal and shoot a donation our way. I would like to thank everybody that supports my channel. I've got great sponsors, and I got an awesome producer. And if you get a chance, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and watch some of our previous videos. We do our best to make you all happy. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next video.